Okay, well, typically on my YouTube page, I read poetry and very soulful, and I really enjoy that. But I feel a little moved to just talk tonight about a movie I saw with my fiance called Waiting for Superman. And it's a documentary, for those of you who don't know, about the education system in the United States, of which I'm a product. Uh, I went to all of my schooling, for the most part, was in the Oakland Unified School District. A couple of years of that were spent outside of Oakland, but all of my education occurred in California, including my college education. I went to a private Catholic university where it became pretty much immediately apparent to me how really behind I was, just in terms of writing and my ability to read scholarly works and take that information in and digest it in a timely fashion, um, at least at the pace at which I was expected to do it. Um, so I struggled in my first few years of college, but I completed my bachelor's degree in history, and I am really grateful for the magnet program in the Oakland Public School District, which is discussed in this movie. Magnet programs are one of the safety nets um, for students who show some ability to excel, or some students who are just very lucky and who win in a lottery and are accepted into a school that's outside of their district, which either, like for me, allows them to escape um, a social network of people who are bogging them down, a gang, you know, um, just basically your neighborhood friends who may not be, contributing to you becoming college ready, because they're serving as a distraction, or something very dangerous like gangs and drugs, where they're actually, you might get killed or end up dead. Um, and so that kind of reduces the dropout rate for some of the students in this nation, and they talk a little bit about that. But one of the things that I think struck me within the first 15 minutes of the movie was the amount of money that teachers' unions contribute to federal candidates, parties, and committees each year. And it's a pretty incredible amount. Teachers' unions contribute 95% of their funds to Democrats. Um, and the national, it says here, opensecrets.org is a place where I found this information. Um, it says, led by the American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association, teachers unions contributed about 5.4 million to federal candidates, parties, and committees during the 2008 election cycle. That's just an incredible amount of money being dumped in to the political system, which basically, in my opinion, helps maintain the status quo. And I think for a lot of teachers, and a lot of teachers who have seniority and who kind of like the status quo, and I would too. You can't get fired if you're a teacher who has obtained tenure in the um, school system and the education system in this country. It's very difficult to pull a teacher's teaching credential in this country. It's a very long and arduous process, and they cover that in the movie as well. Um, Principals have to take, I think it's a 23-step um, 23-step process, which includes a lot of deadlines. Um, Things have to be filed in a very timely fashion. If any of those deadlines are missed, then um, the entire review is nullified and has to be put off until the following year. In some states, teachers go into a review board or review situation where they may be uh, they just report there every day and they sit and they wait while they are being, kind of where they're undergoing some kind of disciplinary action, where they're being reviewed as teachers. And so they go in and they receive their full paycheck during this time. And these are teachers who may be accused of actually, abusing a student, sexually abusing them, neglecting the class, failing to actually have their students perform on any level. All of these teachers are lumped in some states into a group where they just go and they sit and they wait, and sometimes they will sit and wait to have their review process completed for 2 or 3 years, and they get paid full price. We pay them for that, to go and sit in an office and play cards and shoot the shit and play around on their Facebook or their laptops or whatever it is that they do during those 8 hours a day that they sit and wait to talk to someone about how they're not doing a good job educating our children. A lot of people will say that this movie is anti-teacher. It's not anti-teacher. It's anti-union. And I don't know that I'm necessarily anti-union, but I'm anti anything that prevents my kid from getting an education. And I think in a situation where you are not motivating teachers to do a good job, and you're demotivating the teachers that do a good job by following all of these rules that are set up by unions to prevent principals and school districts from rewarding teachers who actually do a better job. That's not allowed either. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. You're not allowed to pay a teacher who did an outstanding job any kind of a bonus if their students, more of their students pass these standardized tests or anything of that nature. It's just not allowed. One in back to the not being able to revoke the. I just had a brief recall of the number of teachers who actually had their teaching credential suspended last year. Was 1 in 2,500. So 1 in 2,500 teachers had their teaching credential suspended or revoked, as opposed to what was it? I think it was 1 in 75 doctors had their medical license revoked, and I know it was under 200. 1 in 125. 1 in 125 lawyers was actually, their right to practice law was revoked. And that number is astounding. I don't understand why this is allowed to go on this way, and we've gotten ourselves into this tight little cycle where now there's this system, this situation set up, and it seems impossible to fix. And I think the best way to fix it is to say, you know what? No one gets to give politicians money anymore. Period. No special interest groups. And it really is frustrating because Obama talked about that, and it was one of the reasons I voted for him. I really was looking forward to him and his ousting. Who's giving our politicians money and what their special interests are, and who these politicians are really working for. And I really was looking forward to seeing that. And I haven't seen it. I'm just disappointed in the whole thing. But one thing I do know is that if we change the way that these politicians get into office, if we change the way that they get paid, if we change the rules about how politics operates in this country, and we say no more lobby money, you can't give it anymore. It's the same as bribery, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many others. I think if we stop that, and we tell the politicians we want these laws passed, and here are the new bills that we want to see, here are the things that we want to see change, and we get this stuff pushed through, then I think that we can revamp this system. And maybe I'm crazy. I wouldn't be the first time I've been told I'm crazy. But I think that's really the only thing we can do, is to say we absolutely do not want to see you guys lining your pockets anymore with money from these groups. And then the union can do whatever they want. They can be whoever they want. They can try, but there'll be laws passed that may work against them, because now they're no longer paying someone to make sure that their interests are watched out for. And I think that's a big step in the right direction. I don't know what the solution is. I'd like to hear from other people what the solution is. I'm going to keep my eye out and kind of watch what develops as a result of this movie coming out. I mean, it's kind of the Fahrenheit 9/11 of the education system in the United States. It's the kind of, it's what was that other movie that Michael Moore did for, with the healthcare situation. And yeah, that lit a fire under some of these politicians' asses. But we really haven't seen much change. I still don't have health insurance. I don't know about you. I still can't get hurt. Is all I know. And I know I can't send my kid to a school in this country, in the neighborhood in which we live, because it's horrifying what will happen there. And she won't get an education, at least not as far as I am concerned, not to the standard that I believe she should be educated, or any child should be educated. So anyway, I just encourage you to go out and see this movie. I'm sorry I didn't do any poetry for you tonight. I'm just I'm not in the mood, and I was just in the mood to say this stuff to you tonight. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'll get back to the poetry, I promise. Um, anyway, that's about it. Peace.